In San Francisco's swirling fog, Ava Bennett, a 27-year-old graphic designer with a spark for bold risks, crafted a plan to jolt her steady world. Her husband, Lucas Hayes, a 34-year-old software developer with a quiet intensity, was her anchor, dependable, warm, ready to build a family. But Ava felt a restless tug, a need to break free before that life snapped shut. At a sleek Mission District bar, her friend Mia Torres, a 31-year-old PR strategist with a cunning edge, laid the bait over a sharp martini. "Take a breather, Ava. Lucas is wrapped around your finger. He'll let it slide." The scheme bloomed, a short escape, a chance to find herself, before kids tied her down. Ava's lips curled, imagining his hesitant nod. What Ava didn't suspect was that Lucas had already sniffed out her plot. A co-worker from her firm, a wiry guy named Eli, had caught her gloating at a team drinks night and tipped Lucas off. "She's cooking something selfish, man. It's off," Eli had muttered over a cold brew in Soma. Lucas's eyes narrowed, but he stayed silent, gears spinning. No yelling, no confrontation, just a cold, calculated wait. Back at their Stark Knob Hill apartment, he kept up the act, flashing a quick smile as she breezed past him. Inside, he was a predator, coiled and patient. Tonight she'd unveil her gambit, and he'd start his own. Ava sipped her drink, honing her pitch. She'd spin it as a gift to their future, a brief detour to clear her head. Mia had prepped her. "Push hard. He'll squirm, but he'll cave if he's hooked on you." Mia's own husband was a broken shell now, living proof, so why not Lucas? Their evening chat flowed light, her latest client pitch, his debug marathon. His easy grin almost tripped her, but she pressed on. After a quick cleanup, she handed him a soda. "Lucas, we've got to talk." He leaned against the counter, soda fizzing, his stillness a wall. "Sure, Ava. What's up?" She drew a breath, firing away. "Before we dive into kids, I need a break, some time to explore new connections, figure myself out. It's just a phase. You're my rock, this is about me resetting." His gaze flicked, but his tone held firm. "If it's what you want, I won't stand in your way." She blinked, stunned by his chill. "No pushback?" Mia was spot on, he'd fold. But as she savored her edge, Lucas's mind raced. She'd taste victory, he'd rig the fall. That night, with Ava asleep, Lucas hunched over his laptop, screen casting shadows. He'd already pinged a lawyer buddy from the marina, discreet, owed him one. Accounts, files, a plan, he locked it down. Eli's heads up was pure gold. He'd even scored a grainy clip of Ava and Mia scheming, timestamped from that bar night. The storm brewed, and Lucas would steer it, a ghost in the mist. Tomorrow, she'd strut out with Mia, blind to the snare tightening. He snapped the laptop shut, a shadow of a smirk breaking through. Let her chase her freedom, he'd rewrite the rules. Then, a twist clicked into place. Eli texted late, jittery. "Found an old email. Ava trashed me to the boss last year, cost me a raise. I've got more if you need it." Lucas's pulse quickened. This wasn't just betrayal, it was personal. Eli wasn't just a tipster, he was a grudge with a pulse, ready to feed the fire. Lucas typed back. "Keep it coming." He leaned back, the fog outside thickening like his resolve. Ava thought she'd scripted this play, but he'd been rewriting the ending all along. Her first step out tomorrow would be her last on solid ground. San Francisco's fog draped the city in a heavy shroud as Ava Bennett stepped into the evening, her nerves buzzing with defiance. The air was damp, the streets slick, and she felt alive with purpose. She pulled on a crisp jacket and boots that snapped against the pavement, her mind replaying Mia Torres's words. "Lucas is yours to mold, Ava. He'll bow in no time, trust me." Earlier, she'd fired off a text to Mia, crowing about how Lucas had folded without a fight. "See? He's clay." Mia had pinged back, her tone smug. Ava grinned, clutching her keys. Tonight she'd push her limits, chase new faces, soak in the freedom she'd claimed. Lucas could stew somewhere else, she'd revel in her win. Downstairs, Lucas Hayes moved through their Nob Hill apartment like a phantom, his every step deliberate. No frantic grabs or sloppy piles, he packed with icy precision, sealing boxes of shirts, books, and his prized tech gear, each one tagged with a neat scrawl. Ava caught him mid-move as she headed out, her brow lifting. Boxes? What's that about? His shrug was casual, voice flat. Keeps things tidy? I'll be gone from your space by the time you're back. She barely registered it, eyes flicking to her phone, already half out the door. Heading out, back around 1 a.m. Don't wait up, I might bring a friend. His gaze locked on hers, unreadable as granite. No problem, Ava. I'll handle it. She dashed off, a fleeting unease drowned by the thrill pulsing through her veins. At a buzzing Tenderloin lounge, Ava linked up with Mia, Ryan Patel, and Caleb Ortiz, co-workers with sharp tongues and easy charisma. The room thrummed with energy, voices overlapping, glasses clinking against the bar. Ava threw herself into the night, trading quick laughs with Ryan over a work tale, nodding as Caleb tossed out a dry jab that cracked the group up. Mia slid closer, her voice slicing through the noise. Lucas still playing nice? Ava's grin widened. Sulking in the guest room already, pathetic. They erupted in laughter, plotting the evening's end. A coin toss landed Caleb as her shadow home, a choice that felt like another notch in her belt. Across town, Lucas peeled off his facade. He'd loaded his truck with everything he owned, clothes, gadgets, half their savings, all legally his, and melted into the fog. Back at the apartment, he'd left a note pinned to the counter. Chase your reset, Ava? I'm fine. No anger, no plea, just a riddle that hung in the air like a taunt. He'd secured a storage locker in the Presidio, stashing his life there, then checked into a rundown motel near the Embarcadero, the kind where the neon flickered and the walls held secrets. His phone buzzed, Eli, his insider voice tight with urgency. She's out with them now, laughing it up. Dug up audio from last week, her trashing you to Mia. Want it? Lucas's jaw clenched, a spark igniting. Send it over. He ended the call, fingers drumming, his next move crystallizing in the dark. Ava swept back into the apartment at 1:50 a.m., Caleb trailing behind, their voices bouncing off the walls with leftover mirth from the lounge. The silence hit her like a slap. Lucas's truck was gone, his desk stripped bare, not a trace of him left. She halted, Caleb's chatter fading to static as she spotted the note. Its words stabbed cold and sharp. I'm fine. Not the guest room, she whispered, her pulse hammering. Caleb flopped onto the couch, oblivious. Guy's loss, right? More space for us. She forced a nod, but the night's high dissolved into a sour churn. Lucas hadn't retreated, he'd vanished, and she'd misread his silence for weakness. Then, a shock ripped through her. Her phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Check your inbox. Now. She fumbled to her email, dread pooling as an audio file loaded, her own voice, smug and cutting, from days ago. Lucas, eat this up. He's too soft to fight back. Mia's cackle rang out behind it, a mocking echo. Ava's breath snagged. Someone had been listening, recording, and Lucas had the proof. Caleb rambled on about the night, but she barely heard him, her mind spinning. Lucas wasn't sulking in some corner. He was out there, pulling strings. She danced into a snare, and the fog outside seemed to close in, heavy with the weight of his unseen hand. San Francisco's gray dawn seeped through the fog, casting a muted glow over the Nob Hill apartment where Ava Bennett stirred from a restless sleep. The night before lingered in her bones, the Tenderloin Lounge's electric hum, the sharp laughter with Mia Torres, Ryan Patel, and Caleb Ortiz still echoing faintly. But now, the stillness of the apartment bore down like a weight she couldn't shake. Caleb had slipped out before the sun rose, leaving with a casual wave and a grin that barely registered. Ava's mind wasn't on him. It was trapped in the loop of that chilling audio file, her own smug voice taunting Lucas Hayes playing over and over. He's too soft to fight back. She pulled on a faded sweater, the fabric rough against her skin, and padded across the hardwood floor, expecting the familiar clatter of Lucas moving about. Nothing greeted her but an empty space, his desk stripped bare, his coat rack a skeletal frame, every trace of him erased. She snatched her phone, dialed his number, blocked. Texts pinged back with a cold "undelivered." "He's overreacting," she muttered, pacing the room, her boots tapping a frantic rhythm, but a knot tightened in her gut, whispering she'd missed something big. Her phone buzzed, snapping her out of the spiral. Mia's voice cut through, bright and unbothered. "So, how'd the night go? Caleb keep you entertained?" Ava unloaded. Lucas's sudden disappearance, the damning recording, the unease clawing at her. "He's gone, Mia. And someone's been listening. There's audio of us from last week." Mia scoffed, her tone dripping with confidence. "He's throwing a tantrum, Ava. Give it a few days, he'll come crawling back, tail between his legs." Ava wanted to believe it, clung to the reassurance like a lifeline, but the doubt festered. She ended the call, staring at the blank walls, the silence mocking her bravado. Lucas wasn't crawling anywhere. Holed up in a dingy motel near the Embarcadero, the kind where the curtains sagged and the air smelled of stale smoke, he'd flipped the switch on his next move. His calm was a blade, honed and lethal, as he watched his plan unfold from the shadows. That Friday, a courier burst into Ava's financial district office, her boots striking the polished tile like a war drum. She shoved thick envelopes into the hands of Ava, Mia, Ryan, and Caleb, her phone flashing as she snapped photos with a smirk that cut deeper than words. "You've been served," she announced, her voice clipped and final, before striding to the boss's office and shutting the door with a thud. Ava's fingers trembled as she ripped hers open. Divorce papers glared back, stamped with breach of trust, backed by a stack of evidence, text logs, grainy lounge footage, and a notarized affidavit from Eli, her coworker turned snitch. Her stomach lurched, a sick wave crashing over her. Ryan swore under his breath. His wife had gotten a duplicate packet, her fury already burning through his phone. Caleb's screen lit up with a call he didn't dare answer. The office dissolved into chaos. Phones ringing off hooks, coworkers whispering behind cupped hands, the air thick with betrayal. The boss's roar shattered the din. "Bennett, Torres, Patel, Ortiz, get in here, now!" They filed in, shoulders hunched under his searing glare, the room suffocating with tension. He slammed a manila folder onto his desk, the sound a gunshot. "The firm's being sued, ethics violation, all thanks to you clowns. You've been plotting your little stunts on company time. Security footage doesn't lie. Give me one reason I shouldn't fire you all right now." No one spoke, the weight of their silence damning. He leaned forward, voice a low growl. "Court's got my hands tied for the moment, but you're on a leash. Step wrong and you're gone." Ava's head spun. Lucas had hacked into the office feeds, turned her casual, reset, into a legal time bomb. Back at her desk, an all-staff email dropped like a guillotine. Mandatory conduct seminars, locked break rooms, roving supervisors. Eyes bored into her from every cubicle, her inbox flooded with anonymous bile, coward, snake, disgrace. She bolted home, the city's fog a blur as she tore through the apartment, desperate for a lifeline. A bank alert pinged, half their savings, legally titled to Lucas, siphoned away without a trace. Then, another text from that unknown number. "Look closer." She rifled through his old desk drawer, hands shaking, nothing but dust until her fingers brushed a USB stick tucked in the back. She jammed it into her laptop, breath catching as it loaded. Her voice spilled out, smug and careless, time-stamped mid-workday. "He'll never see it coming, Mia, we've got this locked." Lucas hadn't just walked away, he'd ripped her world apart, brick by brick. Caleb texted, voice cracking through the static. His wife had cut him loose. "What's his game?" Ava rasped. "Checkmate." Then, the sting sank deeper. Her phone vibrated, a video file from Lucas popped up, his face filling the screen, calm and unyielding. "You wanted a break, Ava. I took mine first. Enjoy the fallout." Her blood iced over. It wasn't a live call. The timestamp pegged it weeks back, before she'd even pitched her plan to him. He'd known all along, every word, every smirk, and he'd let her strut right into his trap. She sank onto the couch, the fog outside pressing against the windows like a shroud. Mia's pep talk crumbled to ash. Lucas wasn't folding. He was dismantling her life with surgical precision. The real kicker came as she replayed the day in her mind. Eli, that wiry coworker with the pinched face, had brushed past her desk that morning, avoiding her gaze, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. It clicked. Last year, she'd undercut his pitch to snag a big client, bragged about it to Mia over drinks while he seethed nearby. He'd harbored that grudge, biding his time, and now he was Lucas's weapon, feeding him every scrap of her downfall. This wasn't just a divorce, it was a slow-burn reckoning, a storm brewed over months, maybe years. She clutched the USB, her hands trembling, the weight of her missteps crashing down. The sting had landed, and she'd been blind to the jaws snapping shut until they'd already locked. San Francisco's fog hung low and heavy as Ava Bennett trudged through the financial district, the sting of Lucas Hayes's last strike still burning in her chest. The office buzzed with a tension that prickled her skin, whispers slithered between cubicles, eyes darted away when she passed. Mia Torres, Ryan Patel, and Caleb Ortiz clustered near the water cooler, their faces drawn tight, voices hushed. "We're done for," Ryan muttered, his divorce papers a crumpled mess in his fist. Caleb nodded, scrolling through furious texts from his wife. Mia, ever defiant, tossed her hair with a scoff. "Lucas is bluffing. He'll run out of steam soon." Ava wasn't convinced. The lawsuit wasn't just a personal jab, it was a sledgehammer, smashing through her life with relentless force. The evidence Lucas had leaked, texts, lounge clips, Eli's affidavit, painted them as reckless schemers, dragging the firm's name through the mud. Mid-morning brought a fresh blow. A man in a press suit strode past security, his steps clipped and purposeful. "Ava Bennett?" he barked. She nodded, her throat dry. He slapped a packet into her hands, voice flat as steel. "From Lucas Hayes's attorney. He's secured property, off limits in the divorce." Photos spilled out, a tidy Sunset District house, deed in his name, bought with his half of their savings. Ava's breath snagged. He'd planned this down to the nails. Mia snatched a picture, her voice rising. "He can't pull that." The man's smirk was thin. "He already has." Minutes later, a voicemail pinged from an unlisted number. Lucas's voice, cool and steady. "You wanted freedom, Ava. Here's mine. Check the headlines." She scrambled online, her pulse racing. Local news blared. "SF firm faces lawsuit over employee misconduct." Her name, Mia's there, reset scheme, all splashed across the screen in bold, damning type. Panic clawed up her spine. The boss summoned them again, his rage a simmering volcano. "Bennett, Torres, Patel, Ortiz, my office, now!" They shuffled in, the air thick with dread as he paced behind his desk. "This lawsuit's spiraling. Clients are jumping ship left and right. Who's feeding Lucas this dirt?" Ava froze, her mind flashing to Eli, that pinch-faced coworker who'd dodged her gaze all week. Had he been Lucas's mole from the start? The boss slammed his fist down, the thud echoing. "You're suspended until this mess sorts itself out. Get out of my sight." They slunk away, careers dangling by threads. Later, at a dim Castro bar, Caleb downed a shot, his voice raw. "My wife's taking the kids. Lucas is a phantom." Ryan nodded hollow. "He's burying us alive." Ava's phone buzzed again, an unsigned email this time, with a single line. "Game's not over." Attached was a grainy photo of her laughing with Mia at the lounge, time-stamped weeks ago, paired with a note in Lucas's scrawl. "You're not the only one who plans." Her heart thudded. He'd been watching, waiting, turning her every move against her. Then Mia dropped a bomb of her own. "I dug into Eli," she hissed over the bar's hum. "He's been recording us for months, ever since you tanked his promotion last year. He's not just a snitch, he's out for blood." Ava's mind reeled. Eli's grudge had fueled this, a silent vendetta now roaring to life. She'd dismissed him as a nobody, but he'd handed Lucas the keys to her ruin. The tightest twist came late that night. Another text from Lucas lit her screen. Meet me, Pier 39, 9 p.m. Let's talk. Desperate for a lifeline, she raced there, the fog curling around the waterfront like a shroud. No Lucas, just a private investigator, lean and smirking, who handed her a sealed envelope. From Hayes, he said, vanishing into the mist. Inside, a single page. You thought I'd beg? I've been 3 steps ahead. Tucked beneath was a pay stub, Eli's, showing a bonus dated last month, signed by Lucas's firm. He'd paid Eli off, turned her enemy into his soldier. Ava staggered back, the pier's damp wood creaking under her boots. Lucas wasn't just winning, he was rewriting the board. Back at the apartment, she collapsed onto the couch, the fog pressing against the windows like a living thing. Mia's fire flickered out over the phone. Ryan and Caleb unraveled in their own corners. Lucas loomed over it all, a shadow she'd never seen coming. The web had tightened, each strand a calculated cut: Eli's betrayal, the house, the media storm, the fake meat. Her breath came shallow, the walls closing in. She'd underestimated him at every turn, and now she wondered, what was his final play? The city's hum faded, leaving only the echo of her own missteps, a drumbeat to his silent triumph. 2 years later, San Francisco's fog still clung to the streets, a quiet witness to Ava Bennett's unraveling world. The lawsuit had settled with a brutal thud. Her firm swung the axe the next day, firing her, Mia Torres, Ryan Patel, and Caleb Ortiz without a second glance. Lucas Hayes's evidence, texts, recordings, Eli's testimony, had been a guillotine, slicing through their defenses with surgical precision. Now Ava scraped by in a cramped Haight-Ashbury flat, a single mom to a toddler from a fleeting fling she couldn't pin down. The Nob Hill apartment was sold, proceeds split, but her share evaporated into legal fees and daycare costs. She'd lost more than Lucas, she'd lost the woman she'd been, her confidence a ghost haunting the edges of her days. Lucas, meanwhile, soared. That Sunset District house had bloomed into a home, his promotion at a rival tech firm paving a steady, quiet life. She'd glimpsed him once, not by chance, at a courtroom hearing over a final settlement dispute, where he'd sat across the room, composed, a new woman at his side, their toddler tugging at his sleeve. No ring yet, but the ease in his smile cut deeper than any blade. He'd moved on, untouchable, while Ava's world shrank. Mia's bravado had crumbled. Her husband, no pushover after all, had drained their accounts and left her with a foreclosed condo in the Mission. She clerked at a retail joint now, her fire dimmed to embers. Ryan and Caleb faded into shadows, divorces stripped them bare, kids lost to custody battles, jobs reduced to dead-end gigs. Ava sat by her window, the fog streaking the glass like tears, replaying Lucas's masterstroke. Eli's tip had been the spark. Her snide sabotage of his career a year prior had turned him into Lucas's eager weapon, but Lucas's patience had fanned the flames. He'd shredded her life legally, methodically, flipping her, reset, into a prison of her own making. The USB recordings, the media leak, the house deal, all calculated moves, laid out like chess pieces she'd never seen until checkmate. That photo from the pier envelope held a kicker, a deed stub, dated months before she'd pitched her plan, proof he'd been plotting while she'd gloated. He'd known, waited, and won. Mia still called sometimes, her voice a bitter rasp. He overplayed it, went too far. Ava shook her head, staring at the fog. Lucas's revenge was clean, a mirror to her arrogance, every step within the law, every blow a reflection of her choices. She'd emailed him once, months back, a desperate plea for forgiveness, offering to fix what she'd broken. His reply was a single line. You chose your path, Ava. Walk it. No venom, just the door slamming shut. She had. Her daughter's laughter was her anchor now, a fragile thread of hope stitched into the wreckage. The office scandal had faded from the headlines, but the sting of old colleagues' disdain lingered like a bruise. One misty night, a knock jolted her from her thoughts. A courier stood drenched at her door, thrusting a small package into her hands before vanishing into the haze. She tore it open. Lucas's handwriting stared back. Divorce finalized. Keep this. Inside, a slim journal, Hers, from their early years, pages filled with dreams of a family, a future together. He'd underlined one line in red. Trust is everything. Her throat tightened, tears spilling not for what she'd lost, but for what she'd thrown away. Betrayal had a price, and she'd paid it in full: career, friends, pride, all dust. Lucas hadn't crushed her, he'd cut himself free, leaving her to face the mirror. The final twist came as she flipped through the journal. Tucked in the back, a photo, her and Lucas, laughing at a pier years ago, the same spot where she chased his fake olive branch. On the back, in his scrawl, "Checkmate." Her breath hitched. He'd planned that pier stunt from the start, a nod to their past twisted into her undoing. She clutched the picture, the fog outside a silent judge. Her daughter stirred in the next room, and Ava wiped her eyes, vowing to rebuild, one honest step at a time. Lucas had won, but she'd survive, clawing back a life from the ashes of her own making.